tries to mug you? What? What if your government tries to throw you in a can? What? You're gonna want a shotgun. Oh. What? An automatic rifle and a lot of ammo. Good.
We're all set to riot. My gun. Before you lose your Second Amendment. My gun. They'll burn you out like you Waco. They'll stick your ass in a camp. Jackbooted cops in riot gear, gonna kick your ass and laugh. The revolution is on its way. Better lock and load your AK. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Before you wish you bought a gun. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Before you wish you bought a gun. We're all set to riot. Back up. Before you lose your Second Amendment. Back up. They gave your money to the banksters. They stole your pension funds. It's time that we took to the streets. It's time we had our turn. A revolution is on its way, and the founding fathers would say, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Before you wish you bought a gun. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Before you wish you bought a gun. You gotta riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean. You gotta riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean.
PrimerTime on GCY.TV. My name is Michael, and I got to go shoot today.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm Nicholas, and I walked in the woods for about 5 miles and shot at some stuff and didn't hit it. So that was my weekend.
That's not bad. Hey, everybody, we got a special guest tonight, all the way from the Southern Republic of Somewhereistan. It is Oddball.
Hey fellas, how's it going?
Pretty good. Good to have you back. Welcome to the land of the big PX.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's good to be back.
Have you been to a Waffle House?
Not yet. I've passed quite a few though, and they smell delicious.
Well, I can tell you that smell is not coming from the employees, that's for sure.
There was a very interesting story earlier this week about a Waffle House employee that was fired because she chased after a robber and discharged her firearm into the air.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where half the people that work at Waffle House are recently released felons, and the other ones are about to be. So, she was lucky she had a firearm in the first place.
Yeah, well, she fired what she called a safety shot into the air as the people were leaving, and that's a no-no. It would be something to fire in defense, and she was in a castle doctrine state. So, but these people were already gone down the road, and she fired a shot into the air, so she got fired. Yeah,
that's one of those things. That's why, anytime you've been associated with the military, you usually have the big three of breakfast places. Number one being the Holy Grail, which is the Golden Trough or Golden Corral. And then you have number two being the Awful Waffle or Waffle House. And then number three is a Texas staple, and that's the Pancake House.
God bless America.
There you go.
I go to Golden Corral when I've got low self-esteem.
When you want to feel better about yourself.
I do, and then I get some bourbon chicken.
Well, they do the bourbon chicken, but they also have they've also stepped up with the teriyaki chicken, and the first time I ever saw a kid eat a complete entree of nothing but cotton candy was at a Golden Corral.
They've got at the Golden Corral near me. They've got this great big chocolate waterfall that you can dip strawberries or donuts or little cookies or whatever. And I no way in hell am I going anywhere near that thing. I can't just even begin to imagine how many burger picking little kids have stuck their whole entire hand into it.
Yeah.
It's just this thing that recycles this melty chocolate.
You know, back in the day, I'd say about 20 years ago, Golden Corral was almost a classy joint. You know what I'm saying? What happened? What happened?
Well, I'll tell you what happened is they took away they took away the limited availability for steaks because people used to show up on Friday for surf and turf, and you couldn't get steaks at Golden Corral without there being like I think it had to be a holiday weekend or had to be like in the evenings or on Friday, and then steaks came out. You know, it was like every day you can just get steaks all day long, and that's when everybody starts showing up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy from the Blue Comedy Tour. What the hell is his name? I'm sure he had something to do with that
comedy
too.
tour.
Yeah, that guy.
Larry the
became
Cable
the
Guy.
I can't remember his damn
No,
name.
you're talking Foxworthy.
Yeah, there you go. He brought all his peeps in, and man.
Yeah, I think the more accurate thing is when they started serving breakfast for dinner. I think that just sank.
It used to be really cool to go to like Golden Corral or one of those buffet places at that like magical like half-hour span where there was still breakfast and they were bringing out the fresh lunch stuff. That was like the best time to ever go. But
yeah, and they would charge you the breakfast price and not the lunch price because the lunch price was more expensive, but you could sneak in and get both. But I will tell you, and I don't know, Michael, you probably remember this. Chris, have you been to a Western Sizzlin'?
No, I have not.
Oh my goodness. We have in my area, we have a Western Sizzlin's wood fire grill buffet. And I have not stuck to the floor since like that since I was in Mexico.
Are you talking about they got a bar there or what?
No, like you walk through the entrance door and
I got you.
Immediately stick to the floor.
Like you're walking through like 4 weeks of unmopped Cokes.
Well, exactly, yeah.
That's that's safety concern right there. That nobody trips, nobody falls, nobody slips, no lawsuits. Right.
No, and they certainly don't have any lawsuits for the 400-pound gorilla who's eating 16 plates worth of frickin' barbecue slathered chicken.
He's been there for 72 hours, sir. You've got to go.
I'm paying for all I can eat.
With a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not a guy to criticize somebody for sitting at a buffet for a couple hours because lo and behold, I might have been the sole reason why. I might have been the sole reason why a beef and leaf restaurant in Uijeongbu, Korea, has instituted a 3-hour time limit.
It's not our fault they sat us right next to the beer tap. You know what I'm saying? At an all-you-can-drink restaurant. Come on.
And I'll tell you what. Once you've had some Korean beer, there's only a couple. There's only a couple good beers there. There's actually 3 decent beers there. One of them is called Cass.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is called Height, which is like the equivalent of Miller Lite. And then you have OB, and OB is short for Oriental beer. That's the only way you can say Oriental and not be called a racist. And Oriental beer has like 4 different varieties. But I tell you what, if you go Korean, you definitely got to go soju.
There you go.
That stuff burns. I don't think you're actually supposed to drink it. I think you're supposed to put that on wounds.
I'm sure you could because it's got enough formaldehyde in there to preserve anything.
That's what gets you sick, right?
Yeah, it's not good stuff. And I'll tell you what, the bad thing is it's like what do they call the silent killer, like heart disease? That's exactly what soju is. It's the silent killer because by itself, it really has a very strong like ethyl alcohol kind of odor taste to it. But if you go ahead and you mix in like
a benzene,
yeah, you go ahead and mix in like a orange Fanta or a pineapple Fanta. Oh, lights out.
Yep.
You will see the Fanta girls in your dreams in about 10 minutes after you stand up. Back me up on this one, Oddball.
Yeah, absolutely. I might have somebody listening, so I can't disclose too much, but absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. So
how about what goes?
Yeah. Well, the Broncos are actually looking for a couple new coaches. So anybody who has the rights to Josh McDaniels, keep him the fuck away from Denver. We've already tried that little experiment with that prick, and I swear to God, I hope somebody else picks him up.
They'll just pipe it all back to what was it, New England?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, anybody
He's like the Putin of the NFL.
Yeah, no, Belichick is like the emperor. He's like the emperor from Star Wars, like complete with the hoodie and everything. So, I'll tell you what, I did this drive hunt the last week. I've lost access to one of the farms that I've hunted. It was a very sad day for me. Our farmer had lost the lease on about 600 acres of land that I've hunted for the last 2 years, and had to pull down all my stands. And the last day that they had the lease on that, we conducted a drive hunt, and I think I literally walked about 5 to 6 miles, and I didn't see a single deer. And
Damn.
I was through. You know, having come out of surgery not more than a month ago, or just over a month ago, and walking that distance with a hernia repair, I should have thought better about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I don't know why you went back to work so quick. I mean, that's usually like a 5, 6, 7 week wait.
Yeah, because they would have stopped paying me.
Not if you like con the doctor, bring him some donuts or something. Hey, write this note.
Well, I don't know. He's a former Navy surgeon, so I would have probably brought him some nuts. He'd have been fine. Heyo.
Love the Navy jokes.
Hey. I got plenty of Navy jokes.
Should have got you one of those ATVs to go on your drive hunt there.
I should have. You realize how expensive those are? I will give a good shout out to the Kubota company. Those Kubota ATVs are very nice. The side-by-sides, those are awesome.
Yeah, but even the cheap ones are $5,000, like those Vinci ones that are, straight out of China. They say, made in Texas or whatever. They put the wheels on them here. Yeah, I think they're the official sponsor of the.
Well, that's different than if they were deconstructed in California, because that's where they take the wheels off.
Yeah, no kidding. But those things, like, shit, Honda's got one that's like $26,000. I mean, yeah, they're expensive.
Wait, isn't that called the Accord?
Yeah, no. I think they call it the Corral or something like that. It's it's $26,000. It's automatic transmission and 4-speed, high low beams, AC, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it'd be cheaper to go out and buy somebody's old beater pickup truck and just use that. I mean, not even an old beater pickup truck. You could probably buy one that was 10 years old and do it.
Speaking of old beat up pickup trucks, Oddball, you were a victim of the Volkswagen scam of 50 miles a gallon in a Jetta. So tell us.
Did you get 50 miles a gallon?
I was getting about 45 to 47 on a if I had the car empty, just me and gas. That's it, or diesel, if you will.
That's badass.
Yeah, and I personally am not affected by the scandal. I love my car. I love getting 40 something miles per gallon. But since Volkswagen's going to give me, $14,500 for it, for a 7 or 8 year old vehicle, I'm all about it.
Yeah, you got almost have to.
Yeah. So I'm looking to get me a hopefully an F-150 here shortly.
Do they make like a Texas edition F-150?
They make a Texas edition of everything.
Yeah, come on. I got Texas edition socks.
Well, that just means that they have one toe on them.
Those
aren't socks. Those are condoms.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
there you go.
Like the brand new Chevy 2500 4x4 diesel that comes with a factory lift. That thing is $74,000.
That's a double wide.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, seriously, if they gave you 14 grand, I'd go out and find me a used Toyota pickup truck.
You know,
And
that's one of the things that I've been looking at was the Toyota 4Runners. Some of the newer 4Runners seem really, really nice.
yeah, they're nice, but man, like if it's not 4-wheel drive, it's just a great big old station wagon, a great big heavy station wagon that doesn't get necessarily decent gas mileage.
Well, no, that's the only route out. I mean, you can't go anywhere and not have 4-wheel drive. You know, there's very few states where you can get away without having 4-wheel drive, and yeah, Texas is not one of them. Especially when the roads get washed out, or when, like, say, you know, some of the southern cities get the 100-year floods every 10
What the
years.
hell are you talking about? There are so many goddamn 2-wheel drive trucks on the road.
There are, but what do they do? They flood the market with them, and then all of a sudden, you know, people are driving them, and it drives the price of everything else up. And then when all the oil rig guys get their
I'll tell you what,
layoffs,
seriously, the best deal right now is if you buy a used truck that's got a standard transmission in it. Because kids can't drive a standard anymore. No, they don't know how. Some insurance
deterrent, yeah.
Yeah, some insurance companies are actually giving a discount if you have a standard transmission vehicle because nobody can drive it. You're one of the remaining few.
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's.
I'm serious. If I got 14 grand, I'd go out and I'd find me a Toyota pickup truck, like one that's
a Hilux.
Yeah. Like you know, one of the newer ones, not one of them square old Hiluxes that had like a little crank thing through the radiator.
Well, Oddball, when you were out in parts unknown, what types of vehicles were you observing?
The Pajero, Mitsubishi Pajero.
Oh, the Pajero.
That's right.
And
so
that's
kind of like the.
That's a Pathfinder.
No, that's like the Montero.
Yeah, it's like a Montero.
Okay, they don't sell that in the United States, though.
They
No,
do
they
not.
don't.
That and bongo trucks.
No, you can't get past a bongo truck.
No, can't beat a bongo truck either.
Everywhere.
That's right.
All right, so describe for everybody who is not aware what is a bongo truck.
It's an actual truck called the bongo truck. That's the name of the truck. I can't remember who makes it. It might be Nissan or some Japanese company. But it's just it's a 2-seater truck, small like an S10, but it has this massive bed. Some are
everything
built up
behind the
pretty big.
cab is nothing but bed.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's probably a 4-cylinder, but they pack the shit out of them, and they carry all sorts of stuff. Goats, in-laws, at the same time.
Which actually may be the same thing depending upon what country you're in.
That's right.
Did you see Chinese vehicle?
Chinese.
Yeah, like Great Wall brand trucks or Cherry or what is it, a Landwind? Anything like that?
No, can't say that. They're mostly Japanese.
I find that to be interesting. Like every time I look at any kind of pictures of like what's going on in Africa right now, it's really kind of weird to juxtapose it against those pictures we kind of grew up with, where it was a bunch of Africans in cut off shorts wearing an LA Dodgers t-shirt with a rusty or actually not rusty but a shiny from battle use AK-47 plowing around in Toyota trucks. Now it's Great Wall pickup trucks all over Africa. And those AKs are new, and they have uniforms.
China Annex.
Yeah.
Well, no, and that's one of those things that in that part of the world, the Chinese do like to send what they'll claim will be marksmanship teams from sporting organizations, knowing full well that the private ownership of firearms is highly regulated. So these are very oftentimes people that are acting under a cover, and whether they're the People's Armed Police or whether the Ministry of Public Security or whether they're actual PLA units, they do send them all over. And they love to send them in the Middle East. They love to send them into Africa.
So what about Duterte? Duterte Harry in the Philippines, basically saying that he's going to cozy up to China and he wants the Chinese guns, not the American guns.
Yeah, well, that's something that he's come out and said, and I think he's largely thumbed his nose at the Obama administration, and the Obama administration is kind of done like what they've done with everything else, is put up a talk and held a press conference saying
the Russians.
yeah, and then all of a sudden it's Putin's fault. So,
yeah, I just thought I thought it was interesting just because it was in the small arms category that arms deal was over, and the Chinese aren't big on exporting their what is it, the 5.8 or whatever. I think it's 5.8 by 42 is the Chinese new army round. They're not big on exporting that anywhere. There's not a lot of that anywhere except in China, and it'd be interesting to see if the Filipinos get it in that 4.8 or if they get 5.56 or 7.62 by 39. Because I think the Chinese pretty much that what is it? The QZB was the old one, and then now there's the what is it? ZQ92 I think is the new designation.
Yeah, it's QBZ.
Yeah. And they make it in three different calibers, the same rifle in three different calibers, and the 5.56 and the 7.62 by 39. They use the AR-15 M16 magazine and then the standard AK magazine, and then whatever that Chinese round.
Yeah, the Chinese have always been they've always been searching for an intermediate round between the Russian standard and the American standard or the NATO standard, and basically it's because they could call it their own. And
I think it's got deeper meaning than that, and I almost look at it kind of like how Yugoslavia had the first of the VZ-52 rifles. Those were chambered in 7.62 by 45, which was intermediate between the 7.62 by 39 and then the 54 for like the Nagant and the RPDs and stuff like that. And they were somewhat within the Warsaw Pact, within that communist sphere, but they weren't standardized, and I think they ran that round for probably like 5 or 6 years. It's exceedingly expensive if you can find it, quite rare. It usually comes out to be $5, $6, $7 a round, and which is kind of a pain because those rifles, it was a VZ-54, and it was very similar to a Russian Tokarev rifle like the SVT-40.
Wow.
Those are
that's one of the things that I like is actually seeing
one of them. I've actually got one of those bullets. I had a guy make a trade with me for one of those. He said it was an SKS, and I got it, and it wasn't an SKS. But I made the trade anyways because I was trading off a Davis 380.
Oh, there you go. So, Oddball, have you decided to make any purchases as kind of like a reward for your successful completion of your tour over there?
I have not. I did, however, purchase a nice Nikon 2.5 power to 8 power scope for my M1A, and I think that might be the only thing I'm authorized to purchase at the moment. Anyways, however, I have been looking at this Ruger precision rifle, and that definitely is on the like to have list.
Okay, what caliber are you looking at?
So they come in 3 different calibers, I believe. 308 6.5 Creedmoor and 6mm Creedmoor. Actually, they had a 243, I want to say.
I think they discontinued the 243.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, but I was looking at the 308 just because I have other rifles rifled in 308, so therefore it'd keep ammunition costs low and whatnot. I know
I'm totally with you on that. I'm totally with you on that. Keep the ammo costs down thing.
Yeah, absolutely. the Creedmoor has better ballistics, I believe, than the 308. However, you're gonna pay almost $2 a trigger pull on the Creedmoors.
Yeah, and those intermediate 6.5 millimeter rounds, those are what precision shooters are using for competition.
Right.
Were you looking at getting this for competition, or were you looking at getting it just to be?
You kind of broke up there, Nick, but just
sorry.
sporting purposes.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
at that point, then yeah, stick with the 308.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
you go.
no,
So, what?
I think somebody else
I was
was.
going to ask.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to ask, what is your preferred load for 308 right now?
Well, it depends. My rifle, I still have not dialed it in. It seems to like the lower grain bullet. I've tried to put like 168 grain through it. It likes 147 to 150, somewhere around there. So I just had better groups, but I still haven't figured out the whole, grain, powder mix yet.
What powder were you using?
There was I've used Hodgins, I've used Hornady. There were quite a few. I've tried. I want to say the Hodgins I've had the best results out of.
Good. And that was readily available in your area, or was that something that you had to order out for?
It was readily available. It is readily available. However, when I first started reloading, it was not available at that time. So I ordered it off the internet, which is extremely expensive, by the way.
Yeah, because
Is that because of the shipping?
Yeah, well, it was shipping. It wasn't so much. It was only a pound of powder, but it was because it was hazmat. It was
Right,
something. It was ridiculous. It was 70-something bucks for a pound of powder.
Yeah, the shipping will kill you on that. What are you paying now retail?
So I just got back. I haven't been back a month yet. I'm going on week 3, and gone for 9 months prior to that. So I've been kind of out of the game here for probably about a year. So before that, probably about 20, 25 bucks, I want to say, for about a pound.
I was gonna say I was at a shop today and I saw a couple different, and it was anywhere between like 21 and 30 bucks, depending on what it was. I think that
Right.
the little shotgun powder was like $21, and then the pistol powders was maybe 26, and then the rifle stuff was about 30.
Yeah, that's about what same price here.
Yeah, but and there was a bunch on the shelf. There was a bunch, and there was plenty of primers.
I'm starting to actually see a lot of the different powders come back into stock. Actually, this afternoon I did receive in the mail the Midway USA after Christmas, after holiday mailer, and they have some serious deals on the inside of this. I don't know if anybody else has received this. It just may have hit me first because I'm over here on the East Coast. But yeah, they actually are marketing powders too, and one of the things that a lot of the guys that are doing reloading, they've got to find the one powder that works just right for whatever recipe they're trying to go for. And I've had to use IMR powders before for my 8mm, and that seems to do very well. But one of the things that really caught my eye out of here was the 35% off of the Remington Hog Hammer ammunition. We talked about this a little while ago. For the normal price, you're looking at $31.50 a box. They are marked down to $19.99 a box, so $1 around.
That's actually not too bad for that specialty stuff. And
yeah,
I think you'll find
really
a lot of times. Well, I think you'll find a lot of times that these manufacturers come out with a kind of a flavor of the weak ammo, and it's quite pricey when it first comes out, and then as it it doesn't necessarily sell very well, and people figure out it's actually just another bullet that they already made in maybe in a different box, or just a slightly different load, or an actually maybe even a different bullet in it.
Yeah, definitely.
They lose the value of the packaging, and something we can point to really easily is the Zombie Max ammo. I mean, that was a craze. When was the last time you saw a box of that zombie shit in the store?
Yeah, only in advertisements. But just on that point alone, take a look at your local Walmart, and like I said, I'm looking at the 300 blackout stuff all the time. And
my Wally had 22 the other day.
well, and I'll get to that in a second. But if you look at your Walmart, your local Walmart should be selling a box of 120 grain Remington UMC open tip flat base bullets, and those should run about $16.94 a box. That is Barnes ammunition. It is head stamped Barnes. It's got the Barnes open tip bullet. It says it's suitable for target, for plinking, and whatever. That's a hunting round, and that's something
Barnes bullets aren't cheap.
No, and that's one of those things that Barnes is making the bullet, and it's being marketed under the Remington UMC name, and you're going to get a substantial cost savings on buying that.
Well, and it works in the opposite direction too, because I'll tell you what, right now the I guess ammo du jour is Browning's got their own boutique ammo out in pistol and in rifle calibers, and it's
I've actually seen it in 22 and rimfire. So
yeah, and I've seen it in 22 as well, in advertisements, not in stores, but I bought a box of it because actually it was well priced. I bought a box of 147 grain in 9mm, and looked at it, and on the brass on the bottom, it's actually got the deer head stamped on it, and it's a little bit different. So I did a little bit of research. It's Federal.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Federal makes it.
So yeah, and that's actually also one of the things that's included in the Midway USA mailer. But they're calling it the Training and Defense Handgun Ammunition for 9mm. That'll run
that training defense. That's Winchester.
So
right?
that's interesting. So one of the also things that I thought was interesting to me was that they were selling 170 grain FMJ 8mm Mauser in the case of 280 rounds for $160.
You better step on that.
Yeah, it's
rare.
underpowered. It's underpowered.
It's rare.
So the problem is that when that's why a lot of World War II vets they brought back that 8mm Mauser, because they liked the way it was loaded to the German spec of 196 grain bullets, and the lighter bullets don't have that same performance, and that's what the American gun manufacturers did not want to compete against, so they intentionally went ahead and loaded it to a lesser capability.
Well, there's not a lot of 8mm Mauser ammo out there.
No, you're always going to have privy.
It's almost a specialty item. I mean, you got to go to somebody who stocks it. That's not a Walmart item.
No, I mean, Winchester does have their metric line that they have that in there. I have seen Remington's core locked in 8mm. It's just it's one of those things that a lot of people are doing more reloading. So that's something where, just like Oddball was saying, you get a chance to formulate your own recipe, following the guidelines, and see what your barrel actually likes best. And Oddball, when you were shooting, how many rounds of each category or each load design were you shooting to determine whether or not it was good for your rifle?
I was shooting probably around 15 or 20 rounds per. So, trying to take out all the errors possible, human error or what have you. So I try to do about 15 to 20 rounds.
How did you find your accuracy to be? between your variance between the 15 rounds of each. I'm not
My
trying to put you on
accuracy?
your top of your skill, like
Oh,
your
okay.
skill in reloading. I'm just wondering because I don't reload, so like I would wonder what if I'm going to take 15 of one load that I made, what are how similar are they going to be? That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, after about 4 or 5 rounds, you start seeing a pretty good group or whatnot. You might have one flyer or something like that. You can kind of, start judging by that point, how well that ammo that that you've made is gonna perform. But you start seeing groups like 5 or 6 inches at 100 yards. We got problems. And then I mean, it could be how many rounds you fired through it previously as a hot
Right,
barrel, cold
a
barrel.
warm barrel, yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that I would always have a flyer on my third round, having started with a cold barrel. My first 2 shots in a Zastava Mauser, my first 2 shots were touching, and then the third shot as that barrel warmed up would always fly, and I could still probably get a minute of angle, but it was stretching it. If I went 3 cold barreled shots, I could get very good accuracy, but that Zastava just doesn't like it when the barrel heats up.
Right.
Is that a thinner barrel?
Is it a what?
Thinner barrel.
It's a standard diameter barrel. It's not a bull barrel by any means, and one of the things about the Zastava brand is that their rifles always come with iron sights. So, and then when you go, nobody over there in Europe decides that they're just going to put a cheap little Burris or a Leapers scope on there. Everybody is trying to put Zeiss, Leica, Swarovski, or even Nikon on their stuff, and they're getting the Ernst Appel Würzburg. It's called EAW, and this is a scope mount that pivots off, allows you to keep your zero with that scope, and then you can go ahead and reattach it and go like you were just beforehand.
That's pretty pricey, I'll bet.
Yeah, the scope mount was about $300.
Okay, so let's spin this. You have $300 and you are going to buy a firearm. Oddball, $300 and you're going to buy a firearm. You get plus or minus 10%.
$300, man. I'd probably have to go with like I had to go revolver, I'm guessing, Smith & Wesson or Taurus or something. I don't know.
You're getting used. If you're going Smith & Wesson revolver, you're getting used and probably fairly well beat.
Okay.
So $300 new. What do you get?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know.
I'm gonna throw out there a Ruger 1022 because you're gonna come in under $300 in most cases, and you're gonna have stuff for ammo.
Yeah, you'll probably. I think you'll come in probably about 250.
Yep, 250 is what I'm thinking. And then upon if you wanted to get one of the Talo editions or the full length stock, the Stutz
the Mannlicher stock. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody calls it Mannlicher, but it's
I think that's actually. I think that's what Ruger actually refers to it as.
They do, only because in the United States nobody knows how to say Stutzen, which is the German term for a full length wood stock.
Mannlicher it is.
Yeah, Mannlicher Schonauer is the company out of Austria that was proprietarily manufacturing stocks like that, and then other gun makers.
And we should explain actually what that is. What we're talking about is a wood stock that goes all the way out to the end of the muzzle. And in a Ruger 1022, the forearm of the stock usually stops maybe about 8 inches before the end of the muzzle, and this just actually covers the whole barrel.
Right. And one of the interesting things about that is that over there, when folks buy those, they actually will take them to a gunsmith who is skilled at carving relief images into the stock and all along all along the full length of the stock. It's not like they're just putting in, checkering by hand. This is a scene of, say, a wild boar, being chased by a dog, or this is a roe deer. They've got some pretty intricate designs out there, and that's usually what they'll do.
So Tapco is verboten in Germany.
Yeah, definitely. And as a matter of fact, the AR platform rifle out there is really considered evil. They have the HK416, which is indigenously produced in Germany, and a lot of the civilians don't even own it. And that there's an attitude out there that semi-automatic rifles result in more dead people. Even hunters that I know will shun a semi-automatic rifle in favor of a bolt action because the bolt action is traditional. They feel that it gives the game a sporting chance to escape, and that's one of those things that it's just a cultural difference, I think. Because think about it this way: how many deer have fallen to a Woodmaster or to a BAR? Tons in this country.
Hell, this is Texas, man. Yeah, how many animals fall to an AR-15?
Exactly.
I mean, it's crazy.
And over there, that just doesn't happen. One thing that I could say it does happen for is U.S. military members that are overseas. They do have guys that are armorers who leave the service and stay over there, and then they open up businesses building those rifles and for people who are legally able to own and store those. And it's a niche that not a lot of people can fill
It's
over
being
there because
squeezed
of the
out.
yeah, and not a lot of people can fill that niche because of the ability of only certain people to own firearms.
Yeah, but as
So
we see, it doesn't really matter what the law says. If you really wanted to get one, you get one.
well, and here's something. We're looking. Today is the third grand total of 17 days, actually going on 16 days left of the Obama presidency. Looking at the chain of command board is going to get a whole lot easier in the next 17 days, and we're looking at we're looking at Donald Trump enacting some legislation or calling for some legislation to
Well, I'll
seriously
tell you what.
relax some of the gun grabbing that we had in the last 8 years.
You bring up the Trumpmeister. He called out Mossad Mayor Rahm Emanuel of Chicago today, and the stats came out. It was 4,675 people shot in Chicago with 779 fatalities.
I tell you what, I mean, they have like the
Trump
home run
sends
record.
a tweet to you, calling you like a dumbass. Better get your shit in check.
Well, and here's the funny thing, because once again, you're taking a look at a city like Chicago, which has some of the most restrictive gun laws in the country, with the worst crime statistic you could possibly have, and that's only counting the 700. I was going to say that's only counting the 700 something people that they found within the city limits of Chicago.
Well, no,
Go ahead.
You look at the Chicagoland area.
Let's count the number of dead people that they found in Erie, Indiana, or wherever else.
Well, like the Chicagoland area in the Illinois, the state of Illinois, they look at that and they found that 85% of those shootings and killings occurred within 7 distinct neighborhoods, and they suspect by about 1,500 or 1,400 to about 1,700 repeat offenders.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I meant to say Gary, Indiana, not Erie, Indiana. I'm sorry, but Gary, Indiana is one of those towns where a lot of the bodies get dumped.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gary, Indiana's got. I took a trip back when I used to work for the ambulance company. I took a trip to Indiana to go and pick up some brand new ambulances from the factory in Goshen, and we were expressly told and routed to go away from Gary. We were not allowed to go through Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, that's and considering when you take a look right there in Indiana, you've got quite a couple of college towns. You know, you got Valparaiso, which I believe is Purdue, and then you have South Bend with Notre Dame. Yeah, you know, these are towns that are really close to Chicago and considered, you know, in Chicagoland at the south end of Lake Michigan. Um, you know, feel
But
bad for folks out there.
I mean, Trump threatened to send in the feds. You know,
Well, he said that they definitely need federal assistance due to the fact that they've got over 700 murders, and you know what could
they need to bomb them into submission is what they need to do. You know,
yeah.
throw a couple tomahawks in there.
Yeah, but you know what? You're taking a look at how many districts in Chicago realistically are where there's going to be, you know, the largest portions of crime. You know, you take a look at some of the
according to the website www.heyjackass.com, it's 7 neighborhoods within the Chicagoland area, and it's all right around the Chicago, around the city of Chicago proper.
I was going to say
85% comes out of that.
you're certainly not going to be looking at, say, the outlying towns like Skokie, or you're looking at even, say, something like Naperville. These are all the bedroom communities for Chicago, and that's not where the crime is happening. The crime is happening there in the city. So,
And I mean, you know, there's all
who lives
kinds
in the city?
there's all kinds of like solutions to the problem, but really the only two that will make any sort of difference is, number one, you allow common people to arm themselves and defend themselves, because criminals are criminals because they don't want to necessarily work, and if it takes a little bit more work to like rob you and shoot you, they're probably not going to do it. And number two is we have to have a serious examination of the drug laws in this country.
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, I think that there's chronic unemployment in that area, as well as there's chronic poverty. When you have generational poverty and you have people that are being given handouts for generations, you're incentivizing those people to stay within that socioeconomic status. There's no incentive for them to move up and move
Yes,
out.
but they vote in one direction generally.
Yeah, and just like Charles Barkley said, you know, black folks have been voting Democrat for 50 years and they're still poor. So what does that tell you?
But and the funny thing is the Democratic Party is the party that was totally against, you know, granting any sort of like anything more than 3/5. That's all you got was 3/5, and it was the Democrats were completely against that. So, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to go ahead and hit some firearm safety rules.
All right. First rule of firearm safety is every firearm is loaded until you visually and physically inspect and ensure that it is not loaded. Rule number 2 is keep the muzzle pointed in safe direction. Do not cover anything you do not wish to destroy. Rule number 3, know what your target is and know what's beyond your target at all times. And Oddball, please give us the 4th rule.
Oh, I think we might have lost him.
That's horrible. Well,
we'll try and
pull your hook off the bang switch until you're ready to discharge the weapon.
Yeah, we will try and reconnect him here in a second. But yeah, you know, that's one of those things that I'm looking back on this. I think the final tally was 762 murders in Chicago.
I saw 779 this morning.
Okay, so maybe they might have attributed something, you know, back over the new year. You know, that's insane.
Shit, that was like 64 over Christmas, dude. I mean, seriously, 64 people shot over Christmas. I mean, I don't care what kind of like shitty childhood you had. That's just insane.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're Rahm Emanuel, what do you say? Do you say guns are the epidemic? Of course you do.
You're Rahm Emanuel. You know what you say? You say the plan is coming.
Yeah. Oh well. So I did notice that I got the breaking news alert earlier today that George W. Bush and Laura Bush, as well as Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, will be attending his inauguration for Mr. Trump. What do you think about that?
I think that's kind of interesting, considering that the Bushes were not necessarily a fan of Trump and loudly, and Hillary. But you know, Trump donated a lot of money to Hillary back when she was running. He donated a lot of money to Bill Clinton. If you really get into it, Hillary and Trump are like cousins. They're 19th cousins. You know, they can both trace their roots back to King John somewhere. I don't know, man. I mean, on one hand, I see news reports like, you know, Ford is going to not open up a factory in Mexico. And then the Carrier air conditioner place, you know, is keeping jobs in the United States. And some phone company or something is doing something. Some internet companies, you know, bringing jobs. Shit, I haven't heard that in years. But at the same time, he's bending over and giving Netanyahu the sloppiest public blowjob I've ever seen. And he's picking some real winners that are scaring the shit out of me for his cabinet. And I mean, I'm not talking about Steve Bannon, because Steve Bannon to me he's an Israeli puppet. You know, they go on about he's an anti-Semite and Breitbart's this neo-Nazi website. Jesus H. Christ, that means you've never read Breitbart. Every other story on there is some great big, another sloppy public blowjob about Israel and how wonderful it is. And look at these IDF marksmen and how great they are with their Tavor rifle. It goes right through them, you know, 3 Palestinian babies' heads because they had a knife, you know. I don't see that. And then, like, you look at, he picks the Secretary of Labor is the dude who was the CEO of Hardee's and Carl's Jr. Holy fuck. Right?
I'll tell you what. I actually ate at Hardee's the other day, and they have the beer bacon and cheese burger. Oh my Lord. That was amazing. I was unable to consume the entire, and for me to not finish a burger, this thing has to be ginormous. And I think I was about 8/10 of the way done, and I was just sitting there looking at myself like, I really want to push through, but I know I'm gonna just break a toilet.
I have not met the burger that's defeated me yet.
Well, yeah, go jump on this one, because I think in your area it's Carl's Jr., right?
We don't have anything like that here.
Okay, what a burger.
We got Whataburger and Mexican food.
No, I had carne asada.
We don't even call it Mexican food. We just call it food.
Yeah. Well, I had a carne asada today, so I was keeping it real for my my folks in South Central Los Angeles.
Viva La Raza.
There you go. So, Oddball, what are you looking forward to in the new year?
Oh my God! You know, I heard you talking about the Trumpmeister. I agree with some of the things that were said. However, it's always better than the alternative. I'm just throwing that.
Oh, absolutely! Oh, please, do not think I was, you know, endorsing it. That woman is goddamn Satan in a fantasy.
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Seriously, I've got no doubt that woman like eats baby blood. I mean, for reals. Like I'm not kidding. I think she's some sort of like weird satanic priestess. I'm not shocked if she is, not by any means. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying some of the things that Trump is doing, and he's not doing anything. I guess it's just that it's so different, and it's a completely different mindset. Although, like, you know, he picked. Vince McMahon's wife is like the head of small business. You know, like, fuck, are we gonna have to, like, you know, like loans to?
We're gonna get some Monday night rehabilitation.
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
There you go.
The Rock is cooking bankruptcy, and that's really what I think the whole thing in the end is. I think Trump is lining up to run this country through the biggest bankruptcy in the history of the universe.
Yeah, that's okay. He's a pro at utilizing the bankruptcy laws.
He's done it a bunch of times. You know,
he's got the experience, right?
I did see that there was a petition on the White House website for petitions to have "grab her by the pussy" put on the money.
That would do it. I think that yeah, I think they've got to do that when it comes to the Harriet Tubman dollar to make sure that it's really gets the gravity.
You didn't.
Yeah, I think that's the most appropriate place to put that statement. I think that might replace E pluribus unum, and yeah, that'll be interesting.
$dollars, hauling ass and spending cash or something like that.
Yeah, in God we trust. All others pay cash.
God bless America.
My $300 pick is the Smith & Wesson SD 9mm or the Knick TP9, which is like a Turkish copy of a Walther.
That Turkish one. And that's what I was going to say also is that, for $300, you may be able to pick up a Mossy 500.
Yeah, I'd throw a Mossy in there too. I generally looked at pistols though when I I've got some cash to spend. I generally looked at pistols, but which is stupid because I always buy the same goddamn pistol anyways.
Yeah, there you go. You talking about the high power?
Yeah, some high power variant, some kind of clone. I'm almost to the point where I was like, shit, I might as well just start a collection of copies of the T series. Anything that's a high power with a rounded hammer, I want it. So I'll look through my online ads and nothing grabs me except the high power. That's really all I look for. Sometimes there's some kind of weird commie pistol. Something else I might consider is a Tokarev in 9mm. But I don't necessarily want one.
Wow. Well, when it comes to firearm purchases,
I guess I'm having a malaise with the lack of diversity in the. It's the same shit over and over and over again.
Well, yeah. Some people kind of keep going back to the well for something that they know.
How many different designs of Magpul furniture, are you going to have on AR-15s and call it a brand new product?
That's when you cross over to the Georgy Zhukov model of the Magpul AK series.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't even want AK anymore. If somebody was to give me one, yeah, but I'm not in the hunt for one.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and drop in chat. I've been remiss. I haven't dropped anything in chat here throughout the evening. There's gonna be a link for 80% polymer lowers for Glock pistols, and
that thing right there. I'm really kind of interested in that.
There you go. So it's a Glock 19 frame, and it's 80%. So it's not a firearm. And you can go ahead and get that.
Yeah, and really, it's I think you can do it with a hand drill and a vise, because I think it comes with a jig.
Yeah, it does. The kit includes a jig, so it'll work with the Glock 19 and Glock 23 for the Gen 3. So looking at a price of $149. But you know what, guys? I think that's going to take us right up to the bumper. We're going to be getting off real soon. Want to give a big shout out to Oddball. Welcome back.
Good to have you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, man. Thank you. Thanks for getting here alive.
Yeah, God bless America.
Seriously.
We got the best. We got the best heavy lift assets in the business.
and seriously, thanks for coming home alive, man. I mean that for reals. I
appreciate it.
I think people forget that people's families do die, and we've got to celebrate them while we got them.
It's true. We do still have troop support. I know it's not in the news every day, so keep them in mind.
Well, there it is, Michael. There's our bumper music. Take us out of here.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Jules works her ass off for us here. So if you got a few shekels, please throw them her way. Buy your stuff through the Amazon link on UCY. Everybody stick around. There's lots of good radio. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Oddball. Everybody have a good night. Go out and buy something.